and welcome to the 6 steps to seeing it through in the Boss Academy for Women Leading. I am talking about my personal experiences in dealing with each of the 6 steps, and today we're talking about verbal. All right, so dealing with verbal. This is a very important one, and for me, the way I did it in the curriculum, it's the last step because sometimes speaking up should be the first and only stuff you do, and you probably will learn that through going through a difficult situation and you see something coming and you're like, oh, I don't like that, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to end it right now. That is ideally what you want to happen. When you have nothing to lose, when you know that, hey, you know what, I can go get another job, I don't have to deal with this, you're going to say something from the jump. Nope, I don't like the way you said that. We're going to rectify this and we're going to move on because we're all professionals here. So that's probably how it's going to happen. But when you're caught off guard, and you're in a situation where you're like, I got mouths to feed at home, I got rent to make, these people are being mean to me, but I got to stay in this job for a year because I have to do this and I have to do that. You can't just be mouthing off and telling these people anything you want to tell them. It don't go that way. So for me in the curriculum, I tried to put it as the 6th step because sometimes you have to take your time and get to your spiritual and deal with your emotional and deal with all these other things. But when you get your strength, you're finally going to be able to say, no, I'm not dealing with it anymore. So verbally, what I'm speaking of is just making sure that you know when to speak, when not to speak. Sometimes you need to know when to keep your mouth closed. Sometimes you see things that are not going right, not going well, and you need to observe. You need to take in and get as much information as you can before you go talking, okay? Because you can get yourself into some trouble. The next thing is when you do decide to talk, you need to have your ducks in a row. You need to have those ducks in a row. You need to have been documenting the situation so that when you do speak up, you can say this A happened on this day, B happened on this day, C happened on this day. I spoke up and I said I was uncomfortable and it still happened on this day, and then this day happened. So you have to make sure that you know what you're talking about and you have your documentation to back you up. You also just don't want to be a gossiper. You don't want to be someone who doesn't like the situation and then you irritate the situation, you make it worse. You start bandwagoning and getting into conversations with people who are not going through your journey and they're loving the drama. You in the middle of the drama, they're loving the drama. Now you running and telling them everything, and now they running and telling everybody everything, and you showing all your hand and you're getting yourself into some trouble. That verbal is very important. You got to know when to hold them and to fold them. It's very important, especially if you are not the one who is causing this problem. Now, we do talk about in the school, if you're the one who around here making other people miserable with your drama, this school's not for you. You need to go and handle that. But this is for people who come into unfortunate situations and they're looking for a way to handle it. One of the last things I want to talk about with the verbal is that there comes a time when you're dealing with bullies. And if anyone has ever dealt with a bully, a lot of times, bullies are very weak people. They're very broken people who are taking out their frustrations in life on other people. However, bullies, they're going to keep tapping on you, to keep picking on you, to keep, in elementary school or something like that, they might even kept beating you up or having physical harm on you. And that's why it's so important that we discourage bullying, because it's a lifelong impact. But bullying goes into the workplace in adulthood. We have adult bullies. We've seen it on the highest level in the government to the lowest level at the local whatever shop or restaurant. There's always going to be people who are in turmoil and taking it out and bullying other people. But when you learn how to beat a bully at their game and you call them out and you finally speak up, or like in elementary school, you actually beat, or middle school, high school, you actually beat the bully up and the bully has to go home with their head down and tail between their legs or whatever they say, that bully changes. Sometimes people's bullies have become their best friend because they have opened up something in them that they didn't realize was there. So situations like that do happen. well, we're not trying to talk about embracing no bullying. That's not where I'm going with that. But there's a time where you have to put your foot down and you call that bully out on the spot. And I mean, you have your clap back ready for them. And, one time I remember I was in this situation. The situation wasn't the most terrible situation, but it wasn't a great working environment for me. And there was a lady who wasn't, I think she just thought she knew everything. She was just really probably feeling kind of bad about herself. She was, I guess, used to just speaking her mind. Some people say, I speak my mind. No, when they're really just being rude. That speaking your mind is not coincide with being rude. But she kept saying things, and one time she said something about my size. She said something about my clothes. She said something about, oh, well, why did you do that then? Well, maybe you shouldn't have been there if you didn't do. She just always had these little comments to say to try to negate and like bring me down. But one day she said something to me, and I don't even remember what it was, but she said it and it was not nice. And she said it and some other people heard it. And I turned around at her and I said, you know what? Sometimes you just talk too much. You talk too much. And and everybody in the office felt that way. Nobody really, I don't want to say people didn't dislike her, because, people have compassion. But she just really wasn't a nice speaking person. And by me saying that, boy, I deflated her balloon, honey. I popped that balloon. I shut her down and she shriveled up. And I never had another issue. I shut her down, and all of that venom she was kind of spewing out, all these jabs. In one statement, probably her insecurity, I told her she talked too much. And it just hit a nerve in her where it was kind of like, And let me tell you, that was the end of that. And it was lesson learned. Like, you can take with so much. You can try to keep the peace. You can try to I don't want to cause no drama. I don't want to be, and then on top of that, she was a black woman. I didn't want to be in this office having the two black women against each other with the attitude, all these other, dynamics going on. And it's just a shame. But, I'm talking, keeping it real. And I just had to, and again, keeping it real culturally, if it's only two of you in a situation, there should be a code that you should be the last one trying to bring each other down. The last. That is a code. I'm sorry. We're going to just keep it like it is. You are the last that should be trying to bring. We got the whole world bringing us down. And you're going to be sitting up here trying to jab me in front of all these people who... Are you crazy? So she broke the code, and I have been in another situation where the code was also broken. So I didn't like it at all. And so you get pushed to that point where you really have to say something and just let it be known, I'm not the one. And a lot of times you, like I said, some may have to hold that to the end and the last step. But when you get in a position like I am now, let me tell you something. There's another job. There's another place. There's another city. And I am not going to deal with it. So if me speaking up is going to cause me to lose this, then guess what? Then that's what I'm going to have to do, because I'm not going to allow disrespect, and I'm not going to allow to be marginalized. I'm not going to allow to be bullied. We're going to stop it from the jump. So if you have a situation like this where you've had to check somebody and you had to clap back on them, and you saw the impacts of it, positive and negative, share it in the comments below. I would love to hear it, just to get an idea of what our power and our words can really do in a situation like this. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a sister, girl, and tell anyone, men, your brothers, fathers, who may be in these positions, who may end up being an ally and may actually be a verbal person speaking up on your behalf when you're not ready to do so yet. So everyone can learn from this. Have a good day, and thanks for listening.